to Every Day is a New Day.
Kim O'Neill from KimO'NeillCoaching.com.
We are live. Welcome to another episode of Every Day is a New Day, where I have inspiring conversations with really awesome guests about moving forward and choosing to embrace a positive outlook. I am your host, Kim O'Neill, and I'm also a personal empowerment and interview confidence coach. And if you'd like to find out more about the work that I do and the Every Day is a New Day show, you can go to KimO'NeillCoaching.com, or on Facebook, go to @KimO'NeillCoaching. And if you're watching us live, then that means you found us on Facebook @KimO'NeillCoaching, or on one of the many pages this has been shared out to. Or if you're watching the replay, then that means you found us on YouTube or on bingenetworks.tv on the Every Day is a New Day channel. Either way, we love to have you here. Please do go ahead and say hello, whether you're live or on the replay. And likes, comments, and shares are always awesome to see, and not only help me and my guest in the show, but they also help everyone who's going to benefit from hearing today's conversation. So we are grateful to have you here and look forward to interacting with you during the show. With that said, I want to welcome today's guest, Pam Bayne. And Pam, oh my goodness, I think her video is frozen actually. Oh, I thought she was looking down. Oh my goodness. So Pam, if you can hear me, I'm not sure. You might want to exit and come right back if she can hear me. These moments are always fun. Oh my goodness, we were just talking 2 seconds ago. So let's see here. We've got some live people. Hello, Betty. So good to see you. So good to see you, Betty. Thanks for being here. And, so I'm just going to maybe give this a moment or two because I think you're seeing what I'm seeing. Pam is completely frozen. Okay, so we might have her back in just a moment.
Hi, Betty.
And we have Pam!
I had to go out and back in and go out and back in. I'm here now. And I saw Betty. I saw a comment from Betty. So hi, Betty.
Yes. Oh, and Betty's wonderful. She said she's inviting additional viewers. So we look forward to seeing them. But okay, Pam, awesome. So I can see and hear you and it looks good right now.
There we go. Let's keep going.
Okay. So with that said, I want to welcome you to today's guest, Pam Bayne. Hello, Pam.
Hi, Kim. Great being here.
I'm great.
It's cold inside. I'm telling you that now. It's cold outside.
Well, tell everyone why it's cold outside.
We had around 14 to 18 inches of snow in a 24-hour period, and this is a city that doesn't get a lot of snow. It took me 2 days to shovel out so I could move the car.
I didn't know it was that much. That's bizarre.
That is bizarre. We had a local city send us their snow machines because the snow was so thick and heavy that we needed more machines. They sent 30 snow machines down to help our however many snow machines we had to clear the snow off the major streets. So,
wow.
Yes. So anyway, so that's why, we have thoughts of Costa Rica even more this time.
I'm sure. Yes. Yeah. And so I look forward to sharing that with our audience today. So Pam's going to be able to share with us some really awesome things that she is doing down in Costa Rica. So really cool stuff. Let's go ahead and Pam, I'd just like to start off by sharing with the audience a little bit more about you. So I'm going to go ahead and read your bio and then we'll get into, the flow of the conversation. So, okay. So for those who are watching us, if this is your first time meeting Pam Bayne, I'm just going to share a little bit about her with you today. So Pam Bayne is a writer, the director of operations for the Evolutionary Business Council, and she's the former president of the Calgary Holistic Chamber of Commerce. As well, she, along with Teresa de Grosbois, are the creators of one of the most revolutionary intentional communities being created down in Costa Rica called Vista Mundo. She's living the Enlightened Gypsy life and cherishing her exquisite moments. And I just love that. Enlightened Gypsy life sounds really awesome and fun.
It is. You know what? I had a life where I used to think about organizing everything. I had to have a plan for everything. And the secret is I didn't actually fulfill on most of the plans. So the time you spend all that energy planning, there's no time to actually do. So I have stepped into a life where I've learned to say yes. Like things show up and I say yes. And it's amazing the change. That's how Costa Rica happened. That's how I get to spend winters away from the snow.
Okay, I want to hear more about that, because I think a lot of us get caught up in this trap of thinking that we are the ones always have to be in control. We have to make it all happen, but then we get, stumped because we don't know how, and we just kind of get in this like little cycle that doesn't really get very far. So how did you start to break away from that?
Well, the key is to surround yourself by positive people, like people who have a purpose in life, and doing positive things in the world is the best way to describe it, because when they start offering things or things start to happen, it's in that positive realm. If you're surrounded, and I used to be surrounded by a lot of negativity, and a lot of negative stuff would show up because that's what was on offer. So I realized that, and, they say that your intelligence is based on the 5 people you hang out most with, right? So if you think your friends are not that smart, I hate to tell you. But it also, and just to go past that, and that's a joke, everyone is smart. Yes. I have my days. I call them human moments when you go, why did I do that? Anyway, but also if you look at your general level of happiness, if you hang out with people who have a positive outlook, who are doing great things in the world, whether it's with their family, their community, but they're moving life forward, they're not waiting for life to happen to them, then that's what shows up in your life as well.
I love that. So I'm big on people who have purpose and, paying attention to my purpose and do my best to live into that and be that and do that and all that. But I just want to acknowledge, I know there are some people who that's not important to them. So I love what you just said, because it's not necessarily even about that. Just for general happiness, surrounding yourself around positive people.
Yes.
Okay.
And also it's a weird thing. I know a lot of stuff, Kim, and it's not necessarily always relevant, but they've done studies on people who get Botox, and because they, the good kind of Botox, not the scary kind you've got your face stuck in a door. Okay. Botox, and it lightens the face and makes people face more relaxed looking and smiling, and people think they're happier. So the person who's had the Botox tends to be happier.
Wow.
So start smiling at strangers. It's something that actually, it always brings a smile, but it's I hope they go and do it to the next person. I open a door for someone and I say, well, that's my one good deed a day. I only need to do one. This is what I tell them. I only need to do one, so I'm done for the day. They laugh, but it's put in their head, oh, I only need to do one good deed.
Oh, I like that.
I'm a bit tricky.
That's good. That's good. That reverse psychology, right?
But it's acting it out. It's bringing it into the space. So, and I've had a life where things haven't always gone well, but I acknowledge my family and friends who've been there for me, right? So and it's about that gratitude.
Yes.
Part of that.
Oh my goodness. When you started to make that transition of, surrounding yourself with more positivity, what was that transition like? Like, did you start to see changes immediately, or what was that like for you when you were in that space?
It did take a couple of years, and I'll have to, and people think this is weird, but I actually had my midlife crisis at 24. I had lived in the UK, I'd traveled, I'm originally from New Zealand, so I've made my way around the world. But at 24, I'm living here in Canada, I'm working as a nanny, and I kind of go, what's next? Like I was actually kind of depressed for a year going, what's next? Like I didn't know. And it took me about a year to figure out I wanted to go back to school. I went to university and got a degree. And that was the first stage of finding out that I was actually smart.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, because, we don't always get the positive teachers in our lives. So yeah, I'm also stubborn. That helps. If you're stubborn out there, I love stubborn people.
Okay, what made you want to go to college?
It was proof that I was smart. And the sad thing is, even I got my degree, it took a little longer because I was working, but I got my degree in communication. I tell people I use it every day.
Same degree? I like it. Okay.
Kismet. Anyway, the degree helped me see how people communicate. So that's something I love. I love people. I love to see how they communicate. People say, why did you study it? And this is because I'm often surprised people actually understand each other. Right? Because there's so much miscommunication, so much stuff out there. It's like start from, and this is because I'm a few years, actually I'm a lot of years older than you, is that I learned that coming from a human perspective. When people have a bad day, I've done a lot of customer service, their bad day often has nothing to do with you.
Okay, tell us more about that. Go there.
Okay. Well, I actually, even in an ice cream store, like you would think that would be the happy place. When I was in university, I worked part-time at an ice cream store, scooping ice cream, giving people, whatever flavor they desired. They were, it was a happy place. But you would get really grumpy people in there. That it's like, no matter what you did or said, it was like, argh. It's like, and I would just go, okay, it's not me. And I would just let them be mean. And I actually often have them come in the next day to apologize. Because I didn't give them something to butt up against.
Oh, I love that. You didn't, oh my gosh, that is so good. You didn't give them something to butt up against, which I also hear it as because you didn't take it personally, you didn't absorb that and sink into it. Exactly. You stood your ground and then they could go, oh, look what I just did.
Yeah. And also often people need to express it and sometimes they don't have a safe outlet. So the first unfortunate person on the other side of the counter is the one who gets it, right? And you kind of got to go, okay, human moment. I say that a lot. I don't like the word stupid, dumb. So especially about self-talk. So I'm a big believer in change the word out for human. I had a human moment. I am so human. It energetically, it just lands better. And especially talking about others. That human driver, they cut me off. Oh, yeah, it's a human in that car.
That's right. A human who has feelings, and we ebb and we flow and things happen. And, okay, that person's having that moment. I don't need to take that personally because I can understand when I've had those moments.
But exactly. I'm a good driver, but there are times when I went, perhaps I shouldn't have done that.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, so, and going back to the ice cream store, when that person coming in who was having such a bad day, do you think maybe he was going there to brighten up his day, but he was still kind of stuck in what he was in before?
It's hard to say. It was probably on his route home and he was trying to self-medicate with food.
Yes.
Who knows? I don't delve that deeply into their motivations. And I've found too, the most amazing conversations happen in checkout lines or bus stations or waiting at the airport, and especially people in a bad moods. And you go, oh, they want someone to say, oh, what's wrong? Tell me more.
Yeah.
And and you don't have to take on their energy. That's the big thing. It's not yours. Right?
Oh gosh, yes, that is such a good one to learn. If you start. I know there have been times where I've started to go, okay, what's going on? Why am I feeling so weird? And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. And I start to go, I'm feeling like this. And then the question came to me, who does this belong to? Oh, this doesn't even belong to me. Wait a second, I'm going to get rid of this. This was someone else's anger or frustration.
Yeah. And it really changes the conversations when you see, the reports of road rage. It's like, dude, he cut you off. So you are still alive. Your car is undamaged. Get over it. Then the tough love comes in.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I want to just take a quick moment to say hello again. So now that we have the video and all this working well, Betty is saying hello back to you.
Betty, I see you there.
And Betty, thank you so much. She's inviting people live to the show. Totally appreciate that. And I know we had someone else here with us, Joe Hole. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hey, Joe.
And it looks like we have Genevieve with us. So thank you also, Betty, for greeting Genevieve. That's awesome. So, okay, Pam. So, when I hear that you were at 24, you kind of had, I think you sort of said you had a breakdown or something like that.
Well, not a breakdown, more because a lot of people don't, I wouldn't have gone out into the world and said, oh, I'm depressed, because I internalized it and I kept to myself, right? Okay. That's the way I dealt with it. Okay. But I knew that I needed more out of life. So deciding to go back to school, that was the first step. And also realizing that my teenage years especially were a bit tough. I was making life decisions at age 16. Wow. And so I went from carefree life of a farm girl in New Zealand to making life decisions at 16. And so I realized between 16 and 24, although I'd traveled and done things, I had done it with a very serious mindset. So let's call it, I instigated the policy of growing down. because I'd grown up so much.
Okay.
So I decided to allow more fun and carefree into my life.
Good for you.
It was a very interesting year at 24 to get all this stuff sort of in line.
Yeah. Okay. So when I hear you say that you decided to go to school and then obviously now have fun, to me, that's a beautiful combination of things you can do for your own self-care, filling your own cup.
Yeah, exactly. But also with the mindset of I'm a person who is in service to others. It's always part of my nature. So sometimes it's frustrating. It's like, do I want to be on the stage? Some days I do, some days I don't. But I get most pleasure out of helping other people. So it's also finding a balance between that and being myself in the world.
Okay. It does. And so when you were in that space of thinking, I want more out of life, I want to connect more to a purpose, did you have, you knew you wanted to help people, but did you have more of a vision of what that looked like? Or were you still kind of sifting through to find it?
I was still sifting through. I also ended up right after university having a major health issue. I actually had ovarian cancer at 34. So you can see 24, 34. There's something going on. And at 54, I started working with the Evolutionary Business Council. So it's like, wait a minute, I have to see what I did at 44. But yes, at 34, I had ovarian cancer. I was very lucky. Being here in Canada, I got early detection. So, but it changed, again, how I viewed my space in the world and taking charge of my own health. It's like a doctor can't tell me I'm in pain or not in pain or what the cause is.
Wow.
Yeah, which has led to all the holistic things like the presidency of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, so then how holistic were you prior to that?
How holistic? I'd go to the doctor if, I had a cold, what drugs could I go on? I wasn't on that often, but probably antibiotics once a year.
Okay.
Yes, I would believe when the doctor told me certain things,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I have high blood pressure, therefore I must take whatever, that kind of thing. And then, but I'm not on any drugs of any kind now, not any prescription drugs or any recreational drugs either, because I find I don't need them. I don't live with pain in my body, right? It's a combination of knowing my body. If my body's in pain, why is it in pain? Is it a temporary pain? It's learning to actually have a conversation with my body, which is also mindset, because you can go the other way and be in pain and stay there because you're being stubborn. Been there, done that, don't do it. So it's really, it's getting to know who you are. And once you get to know who you are, things start showing up. I'd like to recommend a book, if I may.
Yes, please do.
It's called Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting by Lynn Grabhorn. It's one of my favorite books.
Okay.
And she wrote it before all the movies came out about, creating what you want in your life. Okay. And she does it from a frequency standpoint. And the idea is if you're happy and excited people show up in your life and opportunities. And she says, most people can't stay in that for forever. Mm-hmm. And some people stay in a fake sense. But she actually gives some great things. She says, figure out what you don't want, because people often say they want more money and they want this, and more bills show up, right? It's like, more bills, but I want more money. So figure out what you do want, and maybe what you'll want is, I want a life of ease and comfort and fun. Like, you can have more than 2 things on your list. And that shows up that suddenly you get a check in the mail you weren't expecting, because I've been given cash, I've been given jewelry, I've been given trips, I've been given, I don't own a car, but I have 6 people who will say, here, take the car for the week, or I'm going away for a month, have my car. So things like that. And the Costa Rica, it was like, it came from conversations around, what do you want to create in the world? Where do you want to be? So, yeah.
So I know one of the things that you can talk to us about is also about how to listen to your gut and trusting your instincts and that sort of thing. So I feel like that's sort of in alignment with what you're sort of talking about. Yeah.
And it's a trial and error to start with, because excitement and fear can be in the stomach at the same time. Like, if you're really excited, it can be confused. So you have to do some experimenting. And if anyone's watching this, you can also go online and do YouTubes of how to do muscle testing, because that's a great way to get out of your head. Am I feeling that or am I thinking that? So it's a way for the body to tell you, is that a yes answer or is that a no answer? And if you're not sure, ask a different question.
I love that. And that's actually something that I've been meaning to learn and practice, play more with. If you're watching and you practice muscle testing yourself, please let us know in the comments how, what's your experience been like with that? So Pam, was that the first way you started to get familiar with it?
I also, my stomach is very accurate. Like I work in my regular job, I work with a lot of teams. We have a large team with what we do. And my gut is 100% accurate when I go to the hiring phase. Because it's like, yeah, there's something off here. I've learned just to go with that. Yeah, there's something off. We're not going to go that way. We're going to go this way because it's reacting in a certain way. Like there's not a harmonious, or it's not making me smile. Right? Just so you know, I have had situations where people have told me things, I've believed them and found they were wrong. And my gut was saying, there's something off here. Right? So it's a learning thing, and allowing yourself to be human when it doesn't go right.
Well,
right?
Now,
so beat yourself up if it's not perfect. I didn't get it right. It's like, okay, like the cancer in my life, it actually was one of the best things because it made me in charge of my life. I wasn't floating along waiting for a doctor to tell me, oh, you're in enough pain to do about something. It's like, no. And then I started looking for alternate choices for supplements and healthcare and things like that. So there was a big. Most people hear this cancer word, and I have to admit, I heard it and didn't hear it. Always, my message is take someone with you when you have to go to the doctor or something like that, because I did not hear anything he told me.
Aww.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, okay, I'm in a lot of shock. I was not expecting that. Anyway, but it was the worst thing happening in the best way, because they got it so early. I didn't need any extra treatments, and I've been cancer-free.
Now, so some of my audience, so I've got people that have a range of tuning into their bodies and what their bodies are telling them, and connecting with their intuition, that kind of thing. So what is that like for you? Do you actually like go, what am I feeling right now? Or is it more of a knowing for you? What is that? When you say your gut, what do you mean for you?
Yeah, well, sometimes if I'm really, if it's really bad, my gut will go, what?
Okay.
If it goes blip, it's like, oh, it's a bad, we're not going there.
So you actually feel it in your stomach. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but usually now it's a knowing. Now I don't often do the muscle testing because I've got to the point it is a clear message. What am I going to do?
Okay.
Right, which it's only happened in the last year. Because I think I was doing the muscle testing because I wasn't quite sure. Well, it said yes. My head said yes. And that's head and heart in alignment. He was at Satyan Raja. It was an event of his in Vancouver recently, and he talked about your head may say yes, but your heart says no. Your heart says yes. Your head says no. One of them says no, don't do it. But if they both say yes, then that's that harmonious thing. So that's what I feel I've stepped into now the last year.
I love that. I heard him talk about that too, and I was like, oh, that's so good to be able to right, if you're in that space and you're like, I think but I'm not sure, that's a great way to check with yourself. I love it.
From is it physics? I don't know. From a biological sense, the electromagnetic field put out by your head is like 30 feet. So within 30 feet of you, you get those weird sensations. Your heart is twice that. Your heart energy field is twice that. So it's like, listen to the heart.
I love
Don't
that.
be ruled by it. Like, you can always say, my heart said to go do this, but was it, balance it out with a little practicality, because especially as you're learning this, you can get yourself into trouble, go off in the wrong direction. But again, I personally don't believe in mistakes, funnily enough, because from everything that I've done that seemed like a mistake, something better has shown up. Even getting laid off from work. Right?
Yes, right. So these things, yeah. Oh, so tell us, okay, it sounds like you're a really good manifester.
I have read the book, and yes, I actually was naturally a manifester until someone told me, wow, you get a lot of great stuff in your life. How do you do all that? And then I went away for a few years because I became very self-conscious that I got offered trips. I got offered blah, blah, blah. I think it's a cosmic balance too, because I do know that I am in service to others, friends, family, in a larger community as well. So it's something that I think you can become in tuned to. And you want to know the big secret?
Yes, please tell us.
When someone offers you something and it's so heartfelt and they really want you to have it, say yes. Just say an open yes.
Yes.
Yeah, don't have to keep it.
I love that.
People give me things and I'm going, that is so not my style, but thank you. I really appreciate it. And then I'll pass it on to someone who will appreciate it. I don't tell them that because the idea is not to offend them. But once I realized that if I just started saying yes and then passing it on, again, it's like that energetic thing of negative energy. Positive energy too. You'll allow it to enter. If it's not for you, pass it on. Someone will find benefit from it. But yes, I found that a great gift.
That's a good one. I like that a lot. Okay. So you manifest very well. Thank you for that awesome tip. Do you do anything? So you say that, people are giving you all these things. Are you setting out the intention to receive it, or are you just having a general openness and these things are flowing in?
Sometimes I'll have a specific desire for something. Okay. But I don't discredit that because I'm in that energy of allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
That other things show up as well. It's the celebration. We do happy dances in the office when something great happens. You'd be surprised. Do one happy dance, and then later in the day you get to do another happy dance. Because too, people are attracted to that energy, whether they know it or not.
Yeah. Right? Okay, Pam, let's go back to life purpose, because that just sounds really meaty right there. So now that it's been some time since you really stepped into that and started taking steps to move towards that, how do you view your own life purpose? Life
purpose apparently is not revolving around technology. No, my life purpose is because I actually like people and I like hearing their stories. But my purpose is of stepping more into a coaching role over the last few years too. And it's really getting to people to see their own brilliance.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah. And people can say, oh, you did this. And then it's like, no, I may have said something that inspired you. You actually did the work. Right. And I'm a lifelong learner, but I'm also a lifelong, there's a balance. You can't always just teach. There has to be a teaching and a learning. You constantly have to go back and refuel. And
the giving and the receiving, both are important.
True. And sometimes people think you have to go to the older person, smart person. It's like, no, I've got some great insights from younger people. Knowledge, wisdom is what you do with the knowledge, and knowledge is not exclusive to any age group. Right? If you look at what the planet's in, it's like maybe the ones who came before us weren't doing such a great job. So take people who they are as they show up is what I live by.
Awesome. Okay, so Pam, I just want to say I think you're fascinating. I think you're really interesting and fun, and so I feel like we could go in tons of different directions. But I'm looking at the time. We are about midway through the show, so I do want to ask you about Vista Mundo.
Yes, which means worldview. Okay. I said this about 15, 20 years ago. I had a desire then that I would not live for the rest of my life in Calgary, that I would follow the sun. The idea is have a place in New Zealand where I'm from, something in sort of central South America, and something in the south of France. So I sort of had 2 out of the 3. Well, the south of France, I've got Teresa now who, enrolled, and well, maybe that would be another place to do projects.
That's exciting.
I know. So, so Costa Rica came out of, what would we want to do instead of being in Calgary all winter long? And Costa Rica kept being mentioned, like Costa Rica this, Costa Rica that. They have because the community of people in Costa Rica, the Costa Rican people are fabulous. They have a great lifestyle. Like people think of Central and South America, poverty and whatnot. Yes, there is some in Costa Rica, but it's no different than in Canada or the US. Actually, it's probably a little bit better than the US. Yeah. They have something like a 97% literacy rate.
Wow.
Yeah, because education is free. The only barrier to the kids in Costa Rica going to school is actually being able to afford to be away from home to go to the classes.
Okay.
But university is actually paid for. It's included.
Wow. That's
So they have and they have a lot of very smart young people there. But that's just part of it. We looked into others, like we looked at Belize, we looked at other countries. But we picked Costa Rica because it had the perfect climate.
okay.
Because of the eco-political. They don't have a standing army.
Wow. Oh, I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And their healthcare is brilliant. So we had to look at the whole lifestyle. And so that was the practical mental side of things. When our feet touched the land, it was like, wow. It felt like going home.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's such a sense of community. They're really into families. Their view is pure vida, pure life. Taking a step back and actually enjoying life. Getting out of the rat race.
So now if anybody's wondering what an intentional living community is, explain what that is to us.
Well, Kim and I are both part of the Evolutionary Business Council community. It's made up of the council level, which are senior members, and the institute level, which are members who are stepping into changing the world in some way. So it's more of an incubator. But the community is about thought leaders from around the world, speakers, trainers, authors, people who are inspired to change the world, whether it be from an ecological sense, because we have some people in sort of that format, versus, they're not speakers, but they're changing the world. And it gives them somewhere to go to share their ideas, to refresh themselves. And it's been a community that's been around for 8 years now. And it's been online. We do live events. People get together. But part of what we're doing with Vista Mundo is having a physical location that people can go and meet, and having a center where you can go and be refreshed. You can go and get new ideas, because a lot of thought leaders are really mavericks. They're out at the front and they're figuring out what to do, how to inspire people, how to change the world. And they don't always have a safety net, right? Either, like financially, they're doing this. A lot of them are doing this because this is their calling and their passion, and then the money follows. And this way they can bring their business to the EBC community and say, this is what I'm doing, because you need another set of eyes sometimes to see what you're doing and why you're not doing, why you're not growing your business, or why your message isn't going out there. So that's what the community is. So Vista Mundo would be thought leaders, speakers coming there to hold events, but to also refresh themselves. There's a place there that they can become part of, to go and spend time and hang out at the pool, and then you're sitting next to someone else who's a thought leader from the other side of the world, because we have members from around the world. So it's not just about your clients coming, or the people that you're in service to coming. It's about the leadership really getting refreshed, really getting clear on what they can do in the world.
So, and is this just for members of the EBC or beyond?
It's not. What we're starting with, we started with that because we're not the developers. We didn't have the bandwidth, because the EBC is a full-time job, because we had 300 thought leaders around the world. Actually, it's slightly more than that now, actually. I can't remember the numbers, but it's slightly more than that. So that takes up a lot. What we're doing, Teresa and I, who's the other co-creator of this, Teresa de Grosbois, is we are creating a retreat center, and then we're fractionalizing the use of it. So it makes it easy for people to come down there for a day event. We've set up a model whereby we call them enlightened fractionals, because we try to think, what are the worst things we hated about, fractionals or, timeshares?
Okay.
Separating from ourselves from timeshares. And how can we do it in such a way that the leadership also gets a break? Like, don't just rush in and have an event. So we've tied it that if you purchase a week at the casita, you get 1 day at the retreat center. So some people are buying a month. They're buying a month at the guest house, and then they get 4 days for a retreat. So they can come down for a week, get themselves centered, hold their event, and then have 2 weeks to rest and recuperate. But it also means there are going to be other thought leaders down there doing the same thing. So you'll see, the guests and everything there, but you'll also see other thought leaders. So exchange of ideas by the pool, or going for a walk, or going into town to the farmer's market. So there's all sorts of opportunities.
That is so cool. So I just want to like recap what you've just shared because they do have a lot of people that, you know, are into personal development and,
Yes.
you know, that
so
are.
This would be like a mecca for personal development. Good way to put it.
That is so cool. So yeah, if you're out there and you feel very purpose driven and you like to support and inspire and make a difference in the world, then she's like telling you about this amazing space down in Costa Rica. You can go and lead your groups, but also take time for you.
Well, exactly. And part of that abundance and affluence that we feel, Teresa and I both feel that we have in our lives, is we've made it a crazy price. It's like a 10-year lease, and don't make me think of the pricing because I can't. But we looked at, from our own perspective, when you have to look for an event venue every year, or, you know, the time, it takes something like 30 hours by the time you find it, you negotiate the contract, you get all the fine details in. It's a lot, and that's even before the event starts, right?
Okay.
So there's a lot. That's a lot of man hours. So the idea is you could have the same event days every year. You can make it your premium location. Wow. Yeah, because the idea is it's not just look at building guest houses. Okay. It's not just for the facilitators to stay in. There'll also be guest houses for your guests to stay in. So it becomes a whole community.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So now I know that you guys have done a few things down there, but there's still, I think, building happening on site. So
we're excited. Yay. We have a roof on the first floor and they're building the second floor. Our first 2 guest houses are being built. We have plans to finish the designs for the next series of guest houses on this one particular spot. And again, we're only taking one small portion doing this on. Other people own other lots, but they're also committed to building guest houses. To go down there to train for their own clients. But and after we build the next series of guest houses, we're building the pool. Yay!
So, okay, the best part, right? Like, that's awesome.
The best part is like, who's going to be sitting by the pool?
Okay, so it is currently functional, but there's even more being built on, correct?
It is. It's tropical. Let's call it that. Okay. We're building our first 2 guest houses. They'll be done by February.
Okay.
And we're going to be starting the next series. And we have committed that by the December 2020, we will have a 60-person retreat center room available. That's part of the package that we're doing with the Enlightened Fractional. We are planning to build a 100-person room as well, but we have to do it in stages.
That's awesome. Wow. Okay. Oh my goodness. I just love that. That's really cool. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Is that, you know, okay. When did that dream come about? How long?
Funny enough, Teresa and I talked about a model like this in 2009. And then we were looking at doing that in Calgary, like getting land and sort of getting people involved to build a community. And this is not a inclusive, like a restrictive, exclusive community. We're very much about the inclusivity of people. So don't think it's, you know, only certain people can go. But it just wasn't the right time. Calgary is, like, real estate in Calgary is just stupidly expensive. Well, I say that. It's an oil town, so that's part of it. So anyway, it got shelved. And then I talked about, you know, wanting to live in warmer places in the world. I already had another investment in Belize. And then we decided, Teresa said, well, that would be a good idea. And we knew someone who was living down there. So it started from that. And then all these people saying, do you know what's happening in Costa Rica? Did you see this? So like other events happening down there. So we took a trip in 2015 to look at 3 lots. People, just so you know, we did our due diligence. We went to the country. We'd been talking with these people for 6 months. We also hired a third-party lawyer to make sure who we were talking to actually owned the land they were talking about. Because a lot of people don't do that. They kind of go on faith. And it's like, there's faith and, you know, not when it comes to land. Not when it comes to large amounts of money. So we found this great development with Mark Copel. He's a retired emergency vet from Wisconsin. He's also a buffalo farmer. But he and his wife want to actually move to Costa Rica full-time. They have their residency. And they are the developers. And Mark is awesome. And that's part of what is making this work, are the people who are involved. right?
Yeah.
Sean DePerrin and her husband, Terry DePerrin, sorry, that's Dr. Sean DePerrin, and her husband, they have one of the lots, and they want to be holding grief work because she has Project Forgive, so she's involved.
Nice.
We have Kara Derringer. She's a trainer out of Edmonton. And Marbeth Dunn, Harrison Klein, and Tracy Ritchuk. They're all enrolled as well. So we have already quite a number of, I can't think of the word.
Thought leaders?
But very expansive thought leaders. Like they've been around for a long time. They already have a large following. So that kind of cemented it.
Okay.
We're an hour from the airport and an hour from the sea.
Nice.
Because, yes, we actually looked at our membership in the EBC and said, well, if we're doing this, what would interest you? And they all said, has to be close to the sea. Because most of the people who said that were from, like, northern Canada or northern US where they get a lot of snow.
Yeah.
And also because the trainers, speakers, authors, they need to get to the airport to go to a speaking gig, right, or to go to another event. So, so those were key factors.
Okay. Well, okay. Something like this is really so exciting and also sounds like a huge undertaking that has obviously spanned almost a decade in the making. And so
conversation started a decade ago. This has actually come together in just over 3 years. People say, how did you do that? And it's like, I said yes.
Okay, so going back to your 24-year-old self.
Yes.
Do you think that she would be able to imagine that one day you would be creating a community like this, building? Yeah. Okay, so then I want to ask you, saying yes I'm sure has been a big part of that. Were there any beliefs that you had to shift your mindset around?
I did actually, because my core negative belief, because I had a rough teenage years there for a few of the years, my core negative belief was I was unworthy. And over time, and it took a while, and I've done personal development, I've done a lot of reading, and you can read 1,000 books, but it starts with yourself. And again, the language you use. Like I said, I eliminated the word just, try, and stupid. You just, like just is a justification, try means you've already decided it's probably not going to happen, and eliminate the word stupid. Yeah. But going back to my core negative belief, even with doing personal development, it was still sitting there. And I realized one day, just because of the friends that I had in support of me, of my family who I know love me, I'm well loved. So I made a conscious choice to change my core belief to I am well loved. I don't have to be fabulously loved, grandiose love, but I am well loved. So that means I can go out into the world and be with whatever state anyone's in, because I'm well loved.
Oh, I love that. That's good.
Yeah, and it's simple. Like people think it's got to be something big and dramatic. And at 24, I didn't have the idea of what I was going to do. It's like I was still, although I was morphing into who I am, I did not have the ability to say yes to everything. Like there was still suspicion because I didn't have the core belief that I am well loved.
Right, that you would, and if you don't really believe that, I think it's common to think that, well, certain things you just can't do, like, or just aren't possible, right? Well, you can't seem to see beyond.
Yeah, and I always felt the universe had a great sense of humor because they would bring me just close to success and it would disappear. But then it took time and to realize, going back and looking, actually, if I'd taken that, I couldn't have taken this much better opportunity that came afterwards. So retrospection is great.
Yes,
and, awesome. But again, it's like the idea there are no mistakes. I lead, just so you know, I declare this, I lead a serendipitous life.
I like it. Is that one of your affirmations or core beliefs?
It is. It's become like what I live. And you can ask Teresa this, because she's always going, how come that happened? Because I wanted it.
I love it. That's enough. That is enough.
And I celebrate it too. And I acknowledge others. And I also pass on. Like I get a lot of things offered to me, tickets to shows, blah, blah, blah. I can't always go. So it's like, hey, who would like to do this? So it's about sharing the goodness.
I love that. Okay, well, the other thing I want to say is, and this kind of came up earlier, but fits now too, is that I think the starting place is, what do you want? What do you want? Absolutely. And then we realize, it's not just about what do you want? It's about who are you? Because the life will show you, the universe will give back to you what you are. So that's why believing that you're worthy, once you're worthy, you are that. Well, then of course, naturally, the universe will give what's a match to you.
Exactly. And people get tied up into, I'm trying to phrase it, that they don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I haven't done this, so I don't deserve it. It's like, let it show up. And then again, you get the opportunity of, if you're in a great financial space, emotional space, then you can give to others fully.
Yes.
But if you're coming from a sense of poverty, then all you're doing is creating more poverty.
Well, and I think that poverty also shows up in thinking, well, I don't need that. Other people don't have that. I don't need to have like so much more than them. But it's not about trying to like outdo people or so. It's just when you allow yourself to live an abundant life, then it's actually inspiring and can uplift others and show them what's possible too. That's how I see it.
And if you look at, changing or adopting a new core belief, because you have to acknowledge the old one, right? It was a survival technique. Yeah. If I'm not worthy, I have to be looking out all the time, to be constantly on guard.
Right.
Bad things are going to happen. But when you change it to I am well loved, it frees up a lot of emotional stuff and energy. But you can start different conversations too, right?
Oh, yes. You will interact with different people. Mm-hmm. New people will show up. Okay.
New people show up, or the same people show up, but they have a different view of you, so you can have different conversations.
Wow. Okay, so I want to know what do you do for self-care? What comes to mind when I say that? To continue to know your worth and your love.
Well, with having, the Evolutionary Business Council that I'm involved with, Vista Mundo, which is, 2 companies, it's a lot of work. So I have my cyber-free Saturdays. Yay! And if you don't know what that means, it means I don't answer the phone. I don't go online. I did in emergency, like website's gone down. Oh dear, I have to go in and do something. But on the whole, that's my day to rejuvenate. I rest, I'll get my groceries, or maybe I'll just read a book, or I'll go for a walk outside if it's not so much snow. Things like that, or go see friends, right? It's not just about being on my own either. It's about being in community away from technology. It's my technology-free day.
I love that. The other thing that I hear come through when you say that is that, because I know it can be one thing to say, okay, I'm not going to do anything, I'm at Cyber-Free Saturday, I'm not going to work at all, and then somehow still find your way trickling into that. Yeah. And I think what comes into play with that is not trusting that things are going to be okay, and that not trusting gets in the way of receiving abundance. I just want to share that.
Yeah, and I'll share it's a retail story. It's about, they used to not be open on, you're too young to know this, but stores didn't always be open on Saturday and Sunday. Oh, they open Monday to Friday, and then they would have one late night. This was a long time ago, when I was a kid in New Zealand, and probably in the 50s and the 40s in the US. Okay. But what happened was people changed having to make their purchasing decisions. Instead of doing it in 5 days, the retail industry meant you could do it over 7 days. So, but that's a choice. You could actually choose not to be open. It could be open 5 days or 6 days. People will still have to make their choice in that time. Same with making a choice around, I'm getting off the internet for a day. This is the day I'm going to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that. So before we get into, finding out how people can connect with you after the show, I want to know, Pam, what's the legacy you want to leave?
That people can be their best selves and no one gets to direct what that is. Mm-hmm. Right? You get to choose. Self-actualization, to me, is the greatest gift, and you have to give it to yourself. Yes. I'm a firm believer. I can't make you happy, sad, angry, anything. I can't do any of that. I can only do that for myself. And everyone says, you make me angry, or you blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I did something that ticked you off, but you're choosing to be angry. If you want to talk about it, let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it can seem like such an automatic thing, that, well, no, it makes sense because you did this thing. And so this is how I feel about it. But yeah, we have a choice. We can shift how we feel about anything.
And that's a skill set that you get to have to practice at. Unfortunately, you can say you can choose it one day, but then someone cuts you off in traffic. It's like, which is why I'm very careful with the words I use, right? I also don't give my word unless I am committed to following through. That's to myself as well, right?
Good.
If I can give my word to someone else, I will bend over backwards to make sure what I've said happens. But when it comes to me, it's like I realized a while ago, it's like, but I wasn't doing that for me, which is where the shift changed, right? There was like, okay, I'm not going online on Saturdays. To be honest, it used to be on Sundays, but I do go on Sundays to check email because otherwise Monday is a bit of a bear. So I just shifted it a little bit so that I enjoy my Saturdays, do a little work Sundays, and the rest of it.
Well, Pam, I think you're an excellent. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, and that's part of being. What does Teresa say? I think she's quoting someone else, but it's like entrepreneurs. They build the plane as they're flying it. I can't remember who the original quote was from, but that's kind of the life of an entrepreneur, a speaker, a trainer. You're entrepreneurs. You're out there changing the world.
Well, the EBC has been wonderful, and you have been a huge part of that. I think not only for me, but for everyone as we join. And you're very warm and inviting and welcoming, but also fun. And I appreciate you. And I think you're an excellent model for what you've been talking about today. Thank you for sharing all of that with us today. Where can people find out more about you if they'd like to connect with you after this show, whether it be for coaching or more about Vista Mundo, things of that sort?
Vista Mundo, the email address is vistamundocr@gmail. That is VISTA. MUNDOCR@gmail.com. You can also go to the website, which is vistamundocr.com. So I'll say it again, VISTAMUNDOCR.com. And all the information is there, and you can reach out to us there as well.
Okay. And so if they want to talk to you about coaching, is that the best way?
They can reach out to me that way around coaching, because I am actually stepping more into that realm as well.
Okay, awesome.
If you do not have my website, I am bad as an entrepreneur in that sense.
That's okay.
Whoever shows up, so it's all good.
Hey, you don't have to have a website to start coaching, and lots of people, successful coaches, do not. So, nope, it's all good.
I consider it tough love, so be warned.
Okay, awesome. Well, Pam, thank you so much for being here today. It was fun talking with you, and thank you to all the live viewers watching us and those on the replay as well. Do encourage you to go ahead and say hello and let us know what you're taking away. How has Pam's, what she shared with us today, how has that inspired you, or what are your thoughts? Are you also a thought leader or a coach, someone who does workshops? Does something like Vista Mundo interest you? Are you going to be checking that out? And maybe you'd like to coach with Pam as well. So let us know in the comments. And if you'd like to find out about future Every Day is a New Day shows, you can go to my website at KimO'NeillCoaching.com, or again on Facebook at Kim O'Neill Coaching, and click on the events tab, and you'll see all the future episodes I've got for the remainder of 2018. And once again, just remember that every day truly is always a new day. And I think Pam's story and everything she shared with us today is a great example of that too, how you get to design your life the way that you want. And it can be as simple as saying yes, starting to shift your beliefs about your own self-worth. Does not have to be complex. And remember that every day is always a new day. Wherever you are today does not have to be where you are tomorrow. You are loved. Start telling that to yourself, and it's amazing how the world around you will start to reflect that and show that back to you as well. So with that said, that is our show. Thanks for being here, Pam.
Thank you, Kim. That was a lot of fun.
Good. I'm glad. And thank you. So have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Okay. It looks like we have Pam back.
Yay.
I hear. What was that, Pam?
Go ahead. I said there was cosmic powers in play, and the screen went blank. I could hear you. I couldn't find you.
Well, here's the thing, Pam. So now I hear you and I can see your name on here, but I still can't see you.
Well, I'm showing up in the little square on my computer.
Oh, no. Of course, we could do the show without saying Pam, but we don't want to do that. We want to see our guest today. Pam, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Oh, no. I'm dancing on my end, too.